giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We're streaming live on YouTube here with my guy Akoye, and of course I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Let me tell you what happened. As I just told you, it's Akoye Wednesdays, right? And we're back at it talking about the Cowboys offense against this Rams defense. But here's the problem, me and Akoye. We quite literally will have a show behind the scenes before the show. You can't get either one of us off on points, man. We want to get it through. We want to talk about it. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, it's 9:05, bro. We got to get started. So stick around for that. We got Akoye coming through. Maybe we'll get into some tussles, maybe not. But we're definitely going to break down this Rams defense about what we saw. Ain't nothing tussling on that one. We definitely are eye to eye on what we've seen from a film perspective and where the Cowboys can take advantage of it, where the Rams are actually pretty solid at as well defensively. It's not the Rams defense of old, right? But it is a defense led by a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris. So we'll break all of that down in a little bit. And then in the roundup, we have a little bit of house cleaning to take care of. Cowboys filled out their practice squad. There's one name of note in that signings that we did yesterday that we'll talk about. Nothing crazy. And then we're jumping straight into it, man. We got a banger for y'all. Bomb Squad. Bomb Squad! Let me know. Mic check 1 2 1 2 if my audio is straight. I know sometimes when we do these, the audio dips a little bit. But let me know if it's straight. And let me make sure I fix up Akoye here. Boom, boom. Bow. And get him straight too. I got you, bro. I got you. We're gonna make sure this thing cool. All right. With that said, let's go ahead, jump into this roundup real quick and get into it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you for a second real quick. House cleaning. So the other day, I think it might have been yesterday or Monday, we talked about the Cowboys releasing a couple players on the practice squad, and it created 4 openings on the practice squad. So the Cowboys went out yesterday and they signed all of those guys. They signed tight end Eric Saubert, linebacker Buddy Johnson, center guard Chris Glasser, and offensive lineman Adam Pankey. As the team has announced, Pankey appeared at left tackle, left guard, right tackle this preseason after working mostly at center, according to Michael Gelkin. But that is not the guy that I want to focus on out of this group. It's actually the tight end, Eric Saubert. He's a 7-year veteran, journeyman, been on about 4 teams. I believe this might be his 5th team in the league. But last year, in the last 2 seasons, he was with the Denver Broncos, and he's got over 1,000 snaps in his career. And the reason why I'm bringing him up is because of, the tight end production opposite of Jake Ferguson has quite literally been nil. It's been nothing. However, I'm not saying that Saubert is going to come in here and he's going to play right away or whatnot, but if they needed him, he has the experience. His 2 receiving touchdowns have come the last 2 years in Denver, but he was kind of primarily being used as a tight end to kind of help in the run game. Most of his snaps are come via the run game, but he's got a couple big catches, couple tough catches. Seems like a tough guy. I didn't do an entire film breakdown on a dude, but just kind of did some general research and taking a look at him. If they have to call him up, he's a guy I don't think they'll be afraid to throw out there and get in the mix. And with the Cowboys tight end situation being awkward right now with Hendershot on IR, You're not getting much production from the other guys. They probably say, hey, let's go ahead and fortify this tight end room on the practice squad. Ironically, I think he has the most snaps of the entire. I have to go look this up. If not the most snaps, he's right up there. But being in the league for 7 years, over 1,000 snaps, felt like that's a guy that they wanted to kind of, or position they wanted to attack, given what's going on with the room. So that's pretty much it. This is practice squad signings. No Cowboys Nation. We did not get any trades or nothing yet. Not yet. It didn't happen yet. We got 6 days. Trade deadlines like 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 days from now. And maybe we will revisit this next week, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, in between time, let's bring our brother from the round table, none other than Akoye Media, in the building. What's good, bro?
What's good? What's good, man? My man Toxic said Costco missing some employees. With these picks.
Yeah, his whole thing is anytime the Cowboys sign, anytime they sign somebody like this, they Costco workers.
Yeah, Costco missing some employees of the month and shit.
Hey, look, at least we got somebody with some type of experience. So it's not moving the needle.
I mean,
sure,
I think I was premature with my tweet because I said if the Cowboys don't make a move, they're not serious. But somebody reminded me, y'all did get Evans, y'all did get Lance, which are moves. But I think we could still go out and find some other talent. You know
I was about to say, I think you meant like in-season trade
I did.
For somebody that moves the needle. I think that's what you meant.
That's what I meant. But those were moves that were like, I think Evans is a move the needle type move. I think we just upgraded from LB.
Yeah, but you got him off the street. That's easy peasy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's like picking up somebody else's trash.
Well, that's easy, you know. But the moves I think we're all thinking about is getting one of them
type moves.
Right, right, something like that. The moves in the offseason,
back in the day,
getting Trey Lance, you know, Gilmore, Cooks. Those are offseason moves. That's fine. Other teams make offseason moves, but in season, if you go look at the last 5 or so years, man, there's these Super Bowl teams have kind of made some in season moves that kind of helped them. So. Yeah, and Cowboys, they did it last year with Hankins. I wouldn't mind another Hankins type. I'm gonna lie.
There you go. Yeah, that's another one.
But hey, man, we did. I don't know if y'all missed it. I know a lot of y'all enjoy the roundtables, but y'all missed the Banger Friday if you did not attend that one. That was, I think it was our longest one we did, like 2.5 hours.
It was.
We hit everything, had a good time.
Then we had the overtime for like another hour talking shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the longest one we ever did. Oh, you talking about
after the fact? Yeah, we still was going in. I think we all
talking
like
life though.
Like, true.
Yeah, we talking like
you talk about the kids like you can't raise them that way. What's going on? Doctor filling it up.
What about to say? We need to do a podcast about what we talked about behind the scenes.
Yeah, that would be crazy, man.
Yeah, that'd be
dope.
Like,
I probably lose followers. They were like, "Cool, yeah, crazy as shit, man. I'm crazy." They don't know.
See, that's what these podcasts are nowadays. A lot of these podcasts is, you know, relationship podcasts or not. But we were talking like father pod. It was like a father thing.
Yeah, it was like fatherhood. Yeah, it was.
It's different. Somebody said bring Durag Sky back. Hey,
Durag Sky was going in that night.
Time to time, you know.
He was brushing the Durag too. The Sky crazy as shit. He was making sure his wave's spinning and shit. Like, why buddy brushing the Durag? He'll take the Durag off.
Hey, I might have to switch, man. They got this new like Durag turban situation going on now. I might have to look into that.
Like they're getting out this piece.
Yeah. But anyway, man, before we break down the Rams defense, Cowboys offense, I asked you this behind the scenes. You've got a chance to take a look at the Rams offense, and if you had some input, some ideas on how to attack them or what they do. I mean, just what you saw and briefly what you watched.
I mean, their offense is built to kind of counter what we do. A lot of the things we struggle against, the deep crossers, because deep crossers is what you do against cover 1 and cover 3, force that safety to make a decision. But the difference is they do a mesh cross, so they are running crossers both sides of the field rather than one direction. They make a safety choose. So on those routes, when you're stubbornly sticking to cover 1 or cover 3, even that safety has to make a decision left or right, and either way he loses depending on the time the quarterback has in the pocket. So in order to disrupt them, you got to make Matt move around in the pocket. If he's not moving around in the pocket, it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? As far as the run, they have Freeman, who I think is a good power back. He had a couple of plays where even against Pittsburgh, he could have broke him long, but you know, they got him at the last minute. But they're running a lot of outside zone, inside zone concepts. It's not very creative, their run game. They're just effective because they do a lot of the stuff that we struggled against in that Green Bay game last year. The pin and pulls. They'll pin you inside with their receivers. They'll bring Puka and Cups. They'll come in and they'll crack you on the end. So if you're not sound out there, we're going to find out how well we're disciplined now, and if we've learned our lesson, which is if they put a receiver in the slot to block you and you're a defensive end, Micah or Lawrence, if you're not body slamming those guys, then are trying to get extra wide so that you can at least be even with those guys, you're gonna have a problem. Yeah. So that's it though. Like other than the crossers and and the way they like to block, those are the two things that give us a lot of trouble. So those will be the two things I'm looking at. But everything else, as far as we're concerned, I think the way you beat them is with the front. And I think the fact that we're such a pressure oriented team, and we have guys like we talked about backstage who haven't even really got the dust knocked off their cleats yet, like Fowler, Williams, and so on, Dorrance. Those guys, this should be a game where you might see a lot more of that, especially if we can keep them in third and long situations, because our NASCAR package with I think it's Fowler, Dorrance, Law, and Micah, that's the best in the league right now as far as pressures.
We don't run it enough though. I saw that
that's
too.
True.
We only had 11 snaps
like 11
with those dudes out there, which is kind of surprising, given how much we've been up. But you hit the nail on the head, man. It's going to be about pressuring Matt Stafford. If you don't pressure Matt Stafford, the way we play defense, you're just going to allow them to get a lot of those crossers, deep overs. They'll run a lot of the dagger concepts in different ways. I showed one play against the 49ers that was wide open to Puka that he just missed, but he hit Tutu Atwell on the dig. But it's about pressure, Matt. If Matt is pressured, he's the 33rd ranked quarterback in the National Football League against pressure with 33% completion. So you got to give him the move. He older, he up there in age. He can move a little, but not as much as he used to. And he'll give you ops too when you pressure him. So that's the number one thing to me. Pressure Matt. They did it last year. He got one off on you, right? He hit that crosser on Diggs. And remember, Cooper Kupp took it to the crib. But the rest of the game, they was getting after him, and they had no answer for it. So I think that's the number one thing.
Do.
Yeah,
that's
number
what
one thing. Do that. Should be able to take care of that side of the ball. Other side of the ball, they like to make it muddy, man. They like to muddy it up. The Rams defense, look, this ain't 2021. This isn't the Super Bowl Rams defense that had a ton of great players on it, or had the Jalen Ramseys of the world. They were pretty deep in rushing the passer, signing Eric Weddle off the practice squad. I'm sorry, off the street. Taylor Rapp, like this ain't that anymore.
This ain't that.
and Raheem Morris knows it. Raheem Morris knows it, y'all. A couple numbers prior to getting into the film, and me and Akoye are just going to talk about some of the things we see before he jumps into it. We talked about this a lot. Get ready for pre-snap them to come out in a too high look. They do it more than anybody. 75% of the time, they will show the too high look. That doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be middle of the field open, but they are 10th in the league in showing that middle of the field is going to be open. So 75% of the time, that's a lot, man. They like to keep those safeties back there, and they like to deploy that odd front. I know we were talking about that a lot too, where it's mostly a 3-4 look or a 3-3-5 type of situation. So, and with that, we'll get into the guy they like to use to play around with. But with that, Akoye, one thing I did notice too, if we want to talk about the run game, when you play back like that, it creates the light box. And they definitely
they carry a light box.
Yes, they have a light box, the third most in the NFL against the run. And when you go look at it statistically, they're 21st in yards per attempt in that situation, right? They're 21st from yards per attempt, I should say, against running backs. So
TP always kills them too. TP killed them. TP always kills them. Every time we play the Rams, TP had a big game.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those games where I would love to see the running game kind of get back on track if they're going to be stubborn in the sense of allowing you to have a light box.
Right. No, that's true. They keep five down. They show you that they want to be able to stop the run with their front five, with their five down linemen. They don't try with their linebackers or safeties. They don't even come up there. They don't even try to pretend that they load in the box or disguise it. Maybe on third downs, but other than that, they never mug the line of scrimmage. They're always off ball.
Yeah, their disguise, as you illustrated earlier, is more so how they post snap disguise with their safeties. They're not really trying.
That's
to bring
impressive though. You're gonna see, like they do it a hell of a lot. I caught it so many times. I was like, damn, I never would have known that the Rams do. Like the Rams and the Chargers schemes kind of baffle me because I never seen defensive coordinators do that much. The Chargers, I don't know what the hell they were doing with their safeties. They were just, I don't know what the hell that defense is, but it was unique, and that was fun for me to watch because I'm like a defense freak.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, this is, if you could execute it well and make it look good, maybe I'd like it. But
and my theory on that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is I think they do that because they just don't got the guys to man up. Is when I say man up, I mean blitz. Let me just say that. Let me just show y'all this right now.
Right.
I call it backing off. In 2022, Raheem Morris, and in 2021, he was known to be a guy that will at least send some pressure to you. He was 13th in the league in blitz rate in 2022. He did it even more, I believe, in 2021. But this year, without a Jalen Ramsey, without a bunch of guys that can he trust out there on down and down out bases, they've dropped all the way to 27th. And even when they do blitz, they don't have much success in doing it. They're 29th in success percentage when blitzing. And I just got a feeling, Akoye, that's because they don't have the dudes to be able to just mano a mano with you. Like, if we think about what the Niners did, like they at least Tre'Davious Ward and Lenore have had success in this league. Doesn't mean they have success every week, but they are pretty. They've had some success. You got the front that can get after you. That's not the case with this Rams team. They want to make things muddy for you post snap, and they want those safeties to be able to confuse you, and they want to drop guys back. That's kind of what we're seeing here, as opposed to the blitzing. They're backing off.
Oh yeah, I'll give you that. But I just look at it this way. Maybe he's transitioning because if he had the talent up front, like if he just had one, maybe two more pieces up front in that front five, a little bit more athleticism on the outside, this defense would be scary. If he had better defense, better outside linebackers because of the way they use them. I like how he uses them, but you're right, he doesn't have the talent to kind of on the outside as far as those corners are concerned to do anything different with those safeties. But the thing that I can say for this defense, talent aside, they're athletic and they're smart. They're all smart because you have to be smart with the way that they disguise things. They have to all know what they're doing because he makes everything, like you just said before in the backstage, everything pre-snap is zone. He's running a lot of zone pre-snap. But post-snap, you don't know what the hell they're doing. I never have to watch film this many times on one game to see, what a defense is in, because most defenses run, either your basic cover one, your too high man under. That's what they're usually doing. And he does a lot of basic shit post snap, but you just don't know. It doesn't look like that's what he's doing pre-snap. So I'm like, what? Well, I read, man, why is this guy zone? Why is that guy zone? Why is that guy zone? Then I'm like, damn, but these guys aren't man. So you even called that where it was like, yo, they run a lot of man zone concepts too.
Yeah.
Or our blitzes from or they disguise their, when they do blitz, it'll be more
it's
like
always
an exchange.
a disguise, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know he was coming. So if this will be a game where you can see clearly, even though they're not the best defense, it takes a smart quarterback to be able to expose the Rams because you don't have a lot of pre-snap options to see what they're in. You have to key in on different things post-snap quickly to be able to attack them. And we're going to talk about who that is that you should key in on based on what he's doing. You kind of know where you want to attack. I think that should be your first progression. Wherever he is, that's where you him in 44. Wherever they are, that's where you progress, man.
Yeah,
first.
And if you can get time back there, I mean, there's opportunity. It's just going to be about seeing it, and we'll look at some of the film. It is. That's the thing about any defense. There's always a hole, especially when you're doing the zone blitz defense or man's.
It be guys
be wide open,
doing jumping jacks and shit, but you don't see them because you got pressure coming from weird angles. So it's like you don't. They trust that they dare you. They're like, you won't guess correctly, at least in the first half. You won't guess correctly against what we're doing. Now I saw games where like the 49ers adjusted and they started doing what you should do against them, but the first half, guys are running wide open, and he was just missing it because he was reading the field the way he should against what he thought they were doing. You have to adjust.
I'm trying to remember when we played them last year. I'm thinking about Raheem Morris. One thing that has not changed though is he will play those cornerbacks off. So those quick screens are there. Those get it out right now are there. Get it to your guys that can make something happen after the catch. Get it to your tight end here. We'll talk about that in a second. Like all that's there. And the reason why I say if you can just obviously you have to have some confidence in the pocket because I don't think they don't pressure that well. They're bottom third in the league in pressure percentage. It's like you said though. It's more about can you get through the correct read because they're going to do some weird things. So your plan has to account for that. Right?
Yeah.
Your plan has to account for, okay, they drop back 97 or they drop back their linebackers, which again, they don't cover well. They just want to muddy it up. They want to what we call clog and cover. They want to clog and cover on one side. Maybe they'll man up on the other side. But if you got a plan to be able to attack that, to have an outlet for it, which I believe in this game is a tight end, Akoye. I think you can be able to move the ball down the field on these dudes. I've seen it done with even bad teams. But the tight end position of Akoye, I think, is the one, brother. Like they are last in the league in yards per attempt to tight ends and sixth worst in the league in yards per game to tight ends. Hey, Jake Ferg, it's your time to come back, bro.
Yeah, it's time to eat.
Yeah, it's your time to come back. And we're actually going to show some film on that a little bit later. One more thing. Obviously, Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. You know,
he's don't even really need to talk about him.
I mean,
the whole 5 is predicated on him being able to stunt and move around the way he wants to. That's probably why they don't get as many pressures. They don't have anybody else to bring it. He's the guy.
Yep.
So they're using everybody else as, pins for his stunts. Not really, there's nobody else that's really going to get there. 97, hope he gets there, but it's only because of like Dorrance Armstrong was getting there last year. The lack of attention that he's getting helps him get to the QB, but that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, they don't really successfully blitz, but hey, any given time a blitz can work on you if you allow it to. So they'll send a weird funky blitz where 97 is dropping and they may bring the corner, or 56 is coming and they drop. It's going to look funky. It's not often successful, but what they want you to do is to hold the ball for a tick extra. But dudes are open, man.
Even the front 5, like our offensive line, everything. The reason I think we're okay though is everything with them is mental. If you're a young offensive line, they're gonna kill you with their blitz. Our quarterback who doesn't know how to recognize blitzes or organize his line, slide the protection. So if you can't slide protection, you're gonna lose against these guys because everything is mental. You don't know where they're blitzing from, and you don't know what coverage they're in until post snap. So Raheem Morris is a high IQ defensive coordinator because he forces you to think both on the offensive line, both with the running back blitz pickup, and your receivers. If you have any option routes, you need to be thinking like you might read. If you're a receiver peeking inside, you're reading zone, so you might sit down somewhere where you're manned up. Now your quarterback can't give you the ball because you sat down instead of flowing, or you flowed into a zone that you didn't know was coming. So even if you have option routes as a receiver, he makes you think. You have to think.
Yeah,
you're not gonna just jump out there. They're good at I don't know what the stats are, but they seem like they should be good at first half or first quarter scoring defense. Meaning, you shouldn't come out and just score on this team because I don't care who you are. You don't know what they're doing well enough to just attack. Now, maybe you catch a tight end up the seam and you get some big plays out of that, and you can score on them in the first quarter for first half.
Philly did it. Philly jumped out on them early.
Yeah. But it doesn't look that simple when you watch it on film. I'm like, this, if they had better talent, they would be a much better defense.
No, you're right. In a handful of these games, it's 9-6 at halftime. It's 3-6.
I didn't even know. I just assumed this got to be hard to deal with for most offensive coordinators because you don't know, you can't know. And even if you're like you said, I know you watched it, so you watched the same shit 4 or 5 times and still like, well, what is happening on this play? Like, what are they doing? I still don't know what they're. I'm like, well, I don't know what cover they're in.
I told you in the back, it reminded me of the Cardinals defense where
Cardinals.
Gannon does the same thing where you'd be like, what the hell is this? Yeah. I even had to reach out to, I think it was Jesse. I was like, hey, yo, what coverage is this?
What is it?
I don't know. I want to make sure I'm relaying this information to our fans, right? But and I think Isaiah said the same thing. Was like, hey, look, they just do shit. You know what I mean? They do shit. Hope you don't find a guy that might.
Hope you don't catch it. It's going to be a guy wide open.
It's going to be a guy.
You might not ever. It's like Dick LeBeau though. Dick LeBeau used to do that too.
Yeah, but
he had guys that was going to get there. So it's like we dare you to get through your progressions before we kill you.
And he had guys. Go listen to Ryan Clark talk about. Man, I get fired up because I love safety play. But he talks about how they had the what was it called? Where you have the it's not telepathy. What's it called?
Telepathy. Or
Yeah,
ESP.
yeah. So they had that thinking, like they knew if they saw this look, I wouldn't even have to say too much to you. You were gonna fire off of whatever responsibility you had to jump down, and I was gonna jump back and cover for you, and we got a pick six or something like that. Like they just had it. They had Dick LeBeau's.
Yeah,
man, I loved it. I hate Pittsburgh, but I love Dick LeBeau's defense. You know what I'm saying? I ain't like Pittsburgh though.
I like Pittsburgh as an AFC team. I
I
like physical teams.
I went to school near
Pittsburgh is nasty. Greg Lloyd was my favorite defender when I was growing up. I love Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green.
I went to school near Pittsburgh, dog. You wouldn't like you. That's like, do you like Eagles? No, you wouldn't like them because you live in Philly, right?
Yeah, I don't like the Eagles because those MFers was just Pittsburgh got some grace to them. The Eagles is like. I got reasons I don't like the Eagles, man.
You ain't been. I
done bled for the Cowboys for real in Philly.
You said they got grace. They got grace when they ain't winning the Super Bowls. I was up there when they was going to Super Bowls and winning them. They got no grace. Them Yinzers are nasty when it comes to being successful. Hell no.
Like Pittsburgh, a nice city. I went up there. It was peaceful. My brother graduated from Pitt, so I was like, I went up there.
The city mad blue collar
up here, man. It's nice and chill.
It's mad blue collar. They're not really much of a progressive city. It looks old. It look like they still a bunch of steel mills.
Yeah,
but their fans are just as arrogant as any other fan base when they winning, bro.
Yeah, I guess.
Terrible.
Yeah, the Eagles, they forget that they was on a 61-year losing streak.
Ain't nobody worse than them though.
Yeah,
nobody worse than the Eagles.
They the worst, man. I can't stand Eagles fans, man. But I can't stand some of our fans either. I can't even lie. Like some Cowboys fans is crazy as hell. But they not the Eagles. They not the Eagles.
Nah, I like to give ours not all the time, now because a lot of y'all crazy. But y'all mad. Crazy. Y'all mad. I get it.
They are mad. They got a reason to be mad. They're like a bitter wife. You know what I'm saying? They mad. Like you be like, well, why she act like that? Well, you did cheat on her 5 times.
Mad,
you know what I'm saying? Like she kind of got a reason.
Just say that though. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, just say that. Say I'm mad. It's been 30 years. I get it, man. Hey, cool.
Right. Yeah, cool. It's crazy.
All right, let's jump into this film, man. And Akoye is going to break down a lot of what he saw in the film room in detail. If you guys are new to this and you haven't been around, you're in for a treat right now, man. So let's do it.
Oh, that's facts. Well, like we talked about, right? When you look at this formation, you'll see, I think it's Kuschek, number 44. He's coming across the line of scrimmage, and that's safety right now. So if you're Purdy, that safety right now is playing man, and he's gonna watch this safety not follow. So if you see that a player does not follow, you know, in your mind, you're thinking it must be zone. So look like cover 2. And so the quarterback's gonna read cover 2. So I said that you have to be a quarterback that's good at post snap because they'll do stuff like this, where, like he said, he doesn't have the talent to be able to recover if he disguises it a different way. So he just says, stay where you are. I'm just going to trick them post snap. And so you see post snap, they're in cover 1 post snap. That safety that's on the opposite side of the field just flipped with the safety who had man before. They knew to flip, and now he's in man on Kuschek, and he throws hot to the tight end, which he should have done anyway.
Yeah, but bro was wide open.
It would have filled. Right.
Did you
Kuschek was open underneath, but the safety was like kind of over the top of that.
Hold on, run that back. Somebody was wide open on that right side.
Yeah, that's Kuschek.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's this safety here. So that safety right now that looks like he's playing deep zone. He's going to switch. They're going to switch now. He's going to hand him off to him. He's looking once the play starts. That's how I knew that he was in man, because he's going to stare right at Kuschek. He's sort of daring you to throw underneath, and pay attention to that play or to this play, because you're going to see later on in the game. And this is why I say first half is kind of hard to figure out what they're doing, because the reason he's not going to read that is because he thinks that corner's playing the flats. So he's not even going to look over there, even though it's wide open. And that's why they get away with it early. Mm-hmm. Once you see it, now you know they're not in zone. So stay on. They would tell the quarterback, they're going to tell him, stay on Kuschek or stay on your running backs when you run them in zone, because that should be your first progression rather than a receiver, because this is what they do, right? And you're going to see C-Mac catch a pass up the sideline later in the game with that same look. They just said, okay, well, I'd rather have C-Mac doing it than Kuschek, and they threw it to him. But and then you can see the defense adjust after the fact. They did it again up here, right? So look, now they're in a zone man, right? Underneath, they're in zone. Those three there are in man, and they're in deep. Their safety is in playing deep middle. So a quarterback post snap, pre-snap, it looked like man because they're those guys who are in man were following. but they're not in man. They're in man zone. So if you're a guy that gets the ball out quick, or you trust your pre-snap too much, you're going to throw into zones that you're not expecting to be there. He just extends this play and catches a window in that zone, which is why he got that one off. These are just, I just threw these run plays in there because they have a basic run scheme, run defense. They keep 5 down just to be able to be stout up front against the run. The one thing you don't want to do is run outside against 97, who's Matt Hope. That's him celebrating right there. But we'll get to him a little bit later in this film. I showcase him. What were you going to say?
Before you move on to the run game, you talked about.
No, we still on pass. I just threw those plays in there. But go ahead.
You talked about how Purdy, used his legs. Seeing Dak Prescott do that last week, I'm thinking this could be one of those cases where he can use his legs again this week. Not necessarily because there's a bunch of pressure, but when you play zone like that, when a quarterback moves, that means that guy has to move off his spot because now we're in the scramble drill. You don't know where anybody's going to be, and I think there's some plays that could be made with Dak's legs again.
Right, 100%. If you extend plays, this is a team to do it against, because if you can extend plays, and I think that's why the Eagles had some success against them, you have more time to read what they're doing post snap or even change the looks because you got guys running around doing scramble drills, stuff like that. See, the pre-snap, I'm not wrong. Pre-snap, this looks like man under, right? Press man. Now watch post snap. Let's see what they're doing.
Kind of a bit of a robber situation with that
safety. The safety stepped down and robbed on that play. But everything looks like too high safety initially.
Yeah, Morris is protecting his guys, man. He doesn't want you to know what's happening pre and post snap because I don't think they got the dudes, like I said, every down to be able to. They don't want you to attack one guy. That's why they're 11th in the league, I think, in yards allowed to wide receivers, because they want you to have to come off your best guy each play because of the way it looks post snap.
Yep. And they're not scared to, like I said, they're not scared to keep Holt out there or 97 out there.
Sure
and man, the things that he does do well, though, I will say, even though he's 6'4", 310, the things he does do well are these things. Anything close to the line of scrimmage underneath him, when you try to run these hitch routes to his side, he, obviously he's a battering ram, so he gets down there and he'll run straight through that type of stuff and disrupt anything you're doing on these quick hitches and smoke screens. So they don't work to his side. What the Rams did to adjust was start doing these things opposite side where number 43 is. Like he runs away from contact, that nickelback or safety. I don't know if 43 is nickelback or safety, but he runs away from contact, and you can have success with those bubble screens to his side. But I wouldn't run him the whole side because he runs straight. He's a defensive end, and he runs straight through blocks. Those wide receiver blocks don't work against him. Here, you will be thinking, okay, you can sit this ball down right in the middle of the field, and this is what if Purdy was reading this as man, that's where he would go with the football. But they're not. This is what they were looking for anyway: the break in on an in-breaking route, right? And they're good at taking those in-breaking routes away. On this particular play, though, Debo is not breaking in; he's going outside. But you see what they were doing pre-snap. It looks like too high once again. Now that safety's going to jump down. He's going to rob on this play. So he's looking to rob on that in-breaking route, like I just said. And you never know until after the ball is snapped, even up front. Now, right now, you also see Holt is right here in the middle of the field, right? Right there playing sort of like middle linebacker almost. I believe they're only bringing 3 on this play. And he's going to drop back in coverage too. You know what I mean? So, they're only bringing 3. So, and then you see that he still gets there too. Aaron Donald still gets there on that play. So again, if he was reading the opposite side of the field, and that was an in-breaking route, or they ran that same formation, but they flipped it and the opposite safety was robbing, they would have guessed correctly. They anticipated an in-breaking route, but it was coming from Ayuk instead of Debo. But had they flipped that, it would have been the right concept for the right situation, because they did throw an in-breaking route. They just threw a dig to Ayuk instead of. Yep. He just guessed wrong, but it's all guesswork with them. You know what I mean? As far as their run games, counters work, off tackles work. You're not really going to get to the edge as easy. I know you'll have the statistic as far as how many yards they give up, in the C gap, but B gap and A gap, if you're countering or if you're running off tackle, as you can see here, I don't need to put a lot of it in there. When you run off tackle or you run counters, they work because they're so quick up front. You know, they get to the strong side fast. So front side of that play, they're going to get there. You know, whether it's the edge or inside, they're going to get there. You have to counter them, or you have to pin those guys inside and widen out those defensive ends or outside linebackers, and you have a lot of space. And this is why Tony Pollard has big games historically against this defense, because of the way they run it. You know, so but getting on the edge and turning that corner, as you can see here, is very difficult because one, they're 3-4, so those outside linebackers can widen out. That's always pretty hard to do, but you just see an example of them trying to do it here, and it's just hard to do. They set the edge very well. You're not turning that corner that easy. So you have to show it to them though, so that you can counter inside. You know, that those cutback lanes are there if you're looking for them.
Yeah, you need your center and your guards to be able to reach. And you know, obviously we've been struggling with that, but we've got the talent to do it. But if we can get, you know, Biotish and Tyler Smith and Zach to get on these reach blocks, there might be something there. But I'm with you, like we've been saying for weeks here. Get back under center, and that's how you kind of build off of it.
We look here. I just pointed this out because they did an excellent job rerouting up the top. They're very physical, and that's Holt again doing this. Those two are gonna guard 3 coming out the backfield. Now, if Purdy was reading that side of the field, this is a sack. He just happens to be they always guess incorrectly, you know. But if he was reading that side of the field, they rerouted all 3 of those guys perfectly with just 2 men. You know what I mean? So he guesses correctly again on this one, and you see that that was Kittle's there. We already talked about the tight end having big games, you know, against these guys. Now, I just said that you can't get outside with a running back against this team. But wide receivers, Turpin and Cooks, should have opportunities out here because of Holt and these guys. The way when they don't see a running back crashing inside, they don't have near as much discipline on the edge as they should. So I don't know how they do against running quarterbacks, but I know when there's a receiver running these reverses like Kellen used to like to do, you have room and opportunity against these guys because of how hard they crash inside when they don't see a running back coming outside. 44 bites on everything. I said this because he's gonna bite hard on this double move right here, man. And you can see why the Eagles and everybody targets him, because he bites on everything, man. They missed him here. I just put this in here because
I wish we ran more of those, man.
That's who we should be. Yeah, that Sluggo was crazy. But that's who we should be targeting. 44. You know, one, I don't know who number 1 is, but he's pretty good. He's athletic as hell. 44 is athletic as well, pretty good in man, but he bites on double moves like crazy, a lot like Diggs used to. Now look at this play. This looks like cover 2, right? Don't it look like cover 2 to you?
Yeah.
All right, watch this. Now watch the exchange that happens up front, top side, right? So if you're looking at the top of the screen, just watch the exchange that they do there. They're not in cover 1. I mean, they're not in cover 2. I mean, my bad. Let me see. I had a long freeze frame there. Yeah, here we go. So they're blitzing and exchanging at the top, right? And now they're in cover 1 with zone in the middle, right? Post snap. Now that he got to the top of his drop, that's when he realizes they're not in cover 2, you know. And but they can still disguise like cover 2 because they'll be using their middle linebacker in zone. But you see here, this is the same look that we had with Kuschek early in the game. This is later in the game. They realize, hey, these guys are playing man, and who's supposed to be on C-Mac is 0. Whoever Bryant, I think his name is, but he's supposed to be on C-Mac. But because they're trying to read pre-snap, they were trying to read whether or not they were in man or zone, so he didn't bother to follow. And they dare you to do that because they think, hey, you're going to be thinking this is cover 2, hopefully, and you don't even bother looking at C-Mac as a read. Well, they caught on. This just shows that Shanahan is paying attention because he caught on to this. So he caught on to it and he said, okay, well, they're not going to guard the running backs out of the backfield. Great. We're going to throw it to him. So you're going to see C-Mac get some yak out of this because of the fact that they disguise it that way. But you see, same play or same concept. They didn't follow, and now he hits them early. He made it his first read this time rather than waiting to check down to it. And you have plenty of success doing that. And historically, Schottenheimer throws 2 running backs. So if we decide to target or progress to the running back first and read the field, running back to tight end or tight end and running back first and then receivers later in the game, we'll have, I think, more success in this game against these guys.
I won't sound like a broken record here, but against the Jets, right, where you had another team that played vision defense, might show something, switch it up in the back. All it seemed like McCarthy and Dak did was say, okay, you don't want to give us this, we'll just dump it off to our running back. He'll get some yak. In that game, I think the running backs had like 8 or 9 receptions. And then whenever they did find a shot, they got it to CeeDee Lamb, whether it be, or they got it to their tight end up the seam or CeeDee Lamb right away. So it could be a similar game plan in the sense of, okay, you don't want to give me the deep part of the field or intermediate, or you want to disguise. You can disguise all you want, but can you tackle Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle in space one-on-one?
This is a game where you impose your will and you don't try to adjust. You don't play chicken with them, at all. You just do what you came to do, and you trust your film. Don't trust your eyes on the field, so to speak, unless it's post snap. But trust the film and trust that their tendencies, because if you let them dare you off of your mark, you're going to have either some errant turnovers against them, because you're going to be throwing balls into windows that you don't think are there, and then also, or that you think are there anyway. And also, they're going to take you away from targeting your playmakers, Ferguson and TP, and even CD. On some of these drag routes, like you'll see them go away from. They actually did one play. I'm gonna get to it in a minute, where it's just like it was so creative. Anybody would have screwed that up. I was like, damn, it's pretty good. But here it looks like cover one, right? Let's see what they're in. Like, they change post snap so often, I don't even remember everything they were in post snap. But I'll show you in a second. Hold on. All right, so this is where I said target your tight ends, because they had a nickel guarding, or pre-snap, he was guarding Kittle, right? Kittle's up the seam by himself now because they're running zone in the middle, man on the outside. So everyone outside is man. They're just man with, and they're taking outside leverage. So you see these corners, this nickel back here at the bottom of the screen, he's taking outside leverage, but he's in man because he knows he has help inside with these linebackers that are dropping into zones. He has help inside, so he took outside leverage and he's forcing that slot receiver into that safety, or in between that, into that triangle right there, right?
Safety and linebacker.
But opposite side of the field, Kendall is not covered at all. So if you're throwing at the blitz, if Dak throws at the blitz and not away from, if you throw away from the blitz, you're in trouble. If you throw at the blitz with these guys, throw right at it every time. And if you can guess correctly, or if Dak is smart enough to read what's going on pre-snap and know where the pressure is coming from, and he just targets whoever that guy is in the seam, blitz side of the field, he'll have success all day. Purdy throws away from it here and has some success, but you see he had a touchdown possibly with Kittle's on the opposite side of the field. Nobody guarded Kittle at all, and they did this a lot. Here they look like they're in too high. They're going to be in cover 3. They look like they're in too high man right here. They follow even sometimes. So they'll have a guy follow in motion, but they're still in cover 3. You know what I mean? And I like that. But like I said, it makes it so that you have to be, see how they move the motion there, and it looks like they're matching up in man. They're not in man at all. They're in cover 3. So he tries to sneak this ball into the back of the end zone to Kittles, but you'll see why I said I like number 1, whoever that is, because he's athletic. He squeezes the flat, even though he knows that he has help there. He does it to kind of bait him into throwing this ball, or maybe he recognized it late, but he still had enough range to get there. I think if Purdy sees it a little earlier and puts a little more heat under that pass, and maybe he gets it in there, but he makes it a tight window because of the way they run it. You know what I mean? This is who we should target in this game. That's why I say you're gonna be smiling by the end of this, because I'll tell y'all this, I give flowers where they're due. Sky is on point when it comes to his film, because he started talking about 97 instead of Aaron Donald, and I start smiling because I'm like, how the hell you catch that too? Like, I caught it, but it's a gift and a curse what they do with this guy. He's a Swiss Army knife, smart player. I can't take anything away from him, but they're crazy to try to use. And I think they do it because he's the least likely candidate. You're like, this guy ain't dropping in coverage.
Right. But at the end of the day, when you put it on film, we know now.
Yeah, now we know. But I'm like, I'm like, who the hell is 97 and why is he guarding everybody? Like, he's on everybody. This is him getting some pressures due to the fact that Aaron Donald gets so much attention. So that shows he could do a little bit of everything. This was the play, though, right? This was the play that I said was like impressive to me. They're going to follow with 37, right? So you clearly are reading man. I was reading man. And then post snap, I'm like, what the hell is this defense? 37 follows the tight end on this play. Holt knows. This is why I say everybody on this defense communicates very well. They all are very smart players because you have to be smart and know everybody's job to not even have to speak on this play. They're not communicating. Holt knows now I'm on the tight end. Watch who 37 is on. So they're blitzing that front side. That was very well disguised. So they're blitzing front side, and they have that safety playing man over that slot receiver, right? Now, that's one thing you have to look at, how all the things you have to figure out post snap. I'm pausing it here. So first you had to figure out, okay, there's blitz coming. That's what a quarterback's thinking. Now he sees the blitz, right? Now when you look at 37, you say, okay, but we got man, right? He's man on the tight end, right? Wrong. 37 followed the tight end, and now he's double teaming that drag route with Pickens coming across. So you're going to see that in a second. That is crazy to me. I'm like, this is crazy. And that safety up there is in man. So let's pause it here. I don't even need to pause it. I actually pointed this out. So 37 is actually double teaming that drag route. He wasn't even on the tight end. That was impressive. He followed the tight end. He's not on him. And this is why Holt gets away with covering guys, because by the time you figure out that he's in coverage or you see the mismatch, it's too late. You already had to process the blitz. You had to process what 37 was doing post snap and find out where he is. And now by the time you get to that tight end who is, who can beat Holt, Holt's protected because you recognize that maybe your third progression, you're not going to go there first.
It's one of those situations where perfect play call for the defense and opposite for the offense. It was just perfect dial up. Yeah.
Perfect. That safety's playing outside leverage man on the slot, and they have inside out with that deep safety, that single high right there. So, this was crazy to me. I was like, yo, that looked like just a basic, cover one defense or cover two. And it looked like that 37 was in man, right? He wasn't man, but he was double teaming and shadowing that drag route. And I never would have guessed that pre-snap. Here you see another opportunity. They didn't throw the 83 at all. Pittsburgh didn't, not much, but he could have killed them because here again, they look as though they're playing man over him, right? They blitz that side and he's just streaking up the field. Nobody's watching him, but they don't bother paying him any attention. But Ferguson, if they do the same thing with Ferguson and he doesn't eat, I'm going to be very upset with that. I'm going to be upset. This play here, again, I like what they do with the defensive ends. So both these guys are man on the tight end and the running back. They're going to switch based off of where the run. See, now that he goes in motion, that other end, the other outside linebackers in man, and so are the guys on the outside. In the middle of the field, they're in zone with the safeties and linebackers are all in zone in the middle of the field. So they run man zone concepts all crazy, and you don't know that they're in them till post snap. You'll see Hope here. He's in the middle of the field, with his hand down. He's in zone. They're still going to beat him. They're going to beat him on this play, and this came back because of a crackback block. But you can see that they don't mind dropping him down back in coverage all crazy. And you see the opportunities you have when you target him. So if you just key in on where he is, you can have a lot of success because they'll drop him back 10, 15 times a game. You know what I'm saying? So those are at least 5 targets if you're guessing correctly. I ain't going to say you're going to do it every time. But if you key in on where he is, you usually find some success. Here, I think they did a good job taking this drag away because he just drops back into this to that throwing lane there. He's there for it. But you see the concept though. Like he's always
let it develop and he's open.
Yeah, he's always there. So if you just hold when you see him drop back in coverage, and I mean hold and wait for a guy to clear him, it's not that hard, man. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? But get the ball to your yak guys. I said this in this film because you get the ball to your yak guys early. If we're running a true Texas Coast offense, not the Texas Toast, then we should have some success because, like you said earlier, you actually called this too. You said they give you a lot of those slants and smoke screens because they play off with their corners, and they definitely do. So that keys to the game is get the ball to your yak guys early, widen those guys out on those counters, and get downhill. So TP is going to have to put his foot in the ground when he sees a gap because they will stunt with, like you see here, with Donald out of that gap. And you can widen those guys out when they set the edge. And you got all these opportunities up the middle of the field. C-Mac did, and so did these guys. But running concepts are pretty basic. And I think we should lead with the ground attack so that we can get these guys displaced and doing some things that are out of character post-snap. But if you let them dictate to you what you're doing, you're going to have a long day.
Hey man, that's excellent. Excellent breakdown by our guy Akoye Media. Please drop the fire emojis in the
Appreciate
chat for our film guru. Yes, that guy is our film guru.
Appreciate
But we ain't done yet. We still got a
No.
little bit more film to break down here, but we're gonna give Akoye a little break in a second. But you brought up Hotek, right? And I'm not even sure if we're saying his name. Holt, I believe his name
Holt.
Holt. Matt Holt. And we
Holt.
talked about the tight ends needing to get involved. Jake
Right.
Ferguson, prior to last week having the one target, he was targeted, I believe, 17 times in those 3 games prior, right? And if you go look at the teams, Akoye, that the Cowboys played against, and I'm going to bring up some of this film right here. We're going to run it here in a second. If you look at some of the teams the Cowboys played against that ran primarily zone stuff, New York Jets, Arizona Cardinals, and then the New England Patriots don't allow you to get deep, right? They try to take away deep stuff. Guess how many targets he had in those games? 18. 18 targets. So this should definitely be a game where Jake Ferguson is a primary target like he was when you ran up against those dudes. If we go look at some of this film, we're going to break down here. We ain't got all the other stuff, but just take a look at the tight ends in these film sessions. And one of these plays ain't really the tight end, but I just want to show you something. I believe over here is where Dallas Goedert is. And we talked about this behind the scenes, but these linebackers and Hope get lost in coverage. And like you said, guys just run wide open. Because I just don't think that in regards to their basic responsibilities when they're not trying to disguise anything, it's there.
Right now they're doing that. They're man outside zone in the
zone
middle.
And they get caught every time with it. Another play, Hotek's lined up outside looking like he's going to be covering Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert just finds a soft spot and Jalen Hurts gets it to him for the touchdown. And again, just these guys just don't. They're just not that great in regards to covering underneath things. Now this play,
but he threw right at that. He threw right at the vacancy, so he did a good job.
And Dak usually does a good job doing that too, by the way.
Yeah, Dak is good against the blitz.
I believe this is a play where again they're going to run some weird concept on the outside and zone it underneath. But watch, I think it's Devontae Smith just spring wide open on this drag, and Jalen Hurts just misses him. I mean, it's wide open, and then we're going to run a man concept back here, zone, man on the back end. We're going to cover one, and look at this right here, just wide open. And for whatever reason, we're not getting it to him.
Cooks and Turpin will kill this.
That's what, and I feel like this should be a game where we usually look deep and then come back down in years past. I would look intermediate, low, and then maybe attack deep because they're not going to allow you to get deep. But once again, tight end stuff. It's just all
they don't let you get behind them. That's one thing they're good at because you're not even thinking to get behind them because you see that you never know when they actually are in too high. They might be in. You're not going to read deep. You're not going to read deep pre-snap. So they trick you off the spot. But when you catch them, and if Dak keys in on the safeties and hope post snap, like just watch the safety, pick one, and once you see them vacate, you can get the ball deep. Especially if you're targeting 40. The Eagles actually did it. They were targeting 44 and was whooping his ass. They was whooping his ass.
Hope, once again, in the slot, guarding the tight end. This is not what you want to. If you see this, I don't care what the play call is. If you got to look off the safety, look off the safety. Because he can't cover. He's 6'4", 310. He can't cover. This is what is this?
He rerouted real good right there. But look at that.
That's all he can do.
Ran that deep post to run that safety
wide open.
Yeah, it's open.
I mean, but wait.
Psycho.
Wait, there's more. Okay, there's more that we'll get to.
That is psychotic. But he ran with him though. He caught him. I'm like, how the hell he even catch Buddy? You know what I'm saying?
It was wide open. I would be attacking him every single time I see him.
I would attack him too
on the outside. Once again, these guys cannot cover Cowboys. I mean, if you allow these linebackers and hope to stop you from doing what you want to do out here with these tight ends, then in my opinion, you're just not game planning it right. And look, once again, this is a whole nother team. Arizona Cardinals. I believe Zach Ertz had a big play.
Look at that.
Same play as earlier, right? Where the tight end from the opposite side of the field runs across.
They don't recognize that tight ends need to be the target or running backs in this game.
Wide open.
They crazy. Yeah. If Ferg don't have a lot of targets this game, it's a problem.
Another one, Trey McBride, delay release. We do pretty good with these delay releases in the sense of our tight ends. We just don't target it. But if you do decide to be stubborn and target it, delay release screen, right up the field, 16-yard gain. I mean, it's the film, it's the proof is in the pudding.
The first game, delay releases, they had him blocking in tight. and then he would release too. You can do that with any of these guys. Like if you force mismatches by taking our wide receivers and putting them in tight too, they're crazy enough to guard you with their defensive end.
Jets
So
game comes to
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
CD Lamb he was blocking the defensive end, let him
Then
go.
turn right around, boom, right there.
Turpin tried to do it against the Niners. That was hilarious. My man just pretty much
Tossed
ran
it.
over him. It was interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's another play. Hotek is going to line up as an outside linebacker. I believe this is Mo Ali Cox. They're trying to disguise stuff on the back end as they usually do. Look at that. He's done. Off the rip, Hotek is done off the line of scrimmage. You just have to make sure you wait out the pass rush. Take your time. If you got to step up, it's there.
Oh,
he can't run. He just look at all this green. He can't run with these dudes. He's 6'4", 300 plus. Get it to him. Get upfield. Touchdown.
Looking like LV out there, man.
I'm telling you, it's out there. Here's Mo Ali Cox from the other angle.
Look at
Mo
this.
Ali Cox is not even like that in regards to a runner. You know, he's a big body dude.
Yeah, cooked him. I don't even know why they still. If this is what's on film, why are they still doing it?
Don't know,
I don't get what's the adjustment.
And it's not just
they're not a very good zone team though, so they got to do it. They disguise it like it's zone. They want you to think they are playing zone, but when they play zone, they give you so much space and so many open windows that it's easy to beat them in zone. Like they can't guard in zone at all.
And my theory is because he's afraid to man up consistently because he don't have the guys out there he trusts. In years past, he can say, okay, I got Jalen Ramsey. So now I can play that Bill Belichick situation where Jalen can take care of this guy. I can play the other side of the field now.
Right.
And I got a pass rush. I can get home.
Makes
with Leonard.
everybody better. Yeah.
Or Floyd.
We having that problem right now with Diggs being out. For real.
Yeah. I mean, we're still
not as bad, obviously.
Yeah, not as bad. Cowboys still doing good things defensively.
Yeah. But you can see that our defense is now a lot more honest than it had to be before. We were different with Diggs out there because not just his talent, but his tape. Quarterback didn't want to even target that side of the field.
All pro.
They're not throwing over there.
Hard to do it. Again, it's not just Hotet either, man. Like I said, these are Hote. I keep saying Hotet. Hote either. It's these linebackers. If you look at, I believe this is Ogletree down here at the bottom, not the bottom of the screen, but in line at the bottom of the screen against this linebacker 56. They just, I don't think they do a great job of just knowing what's happening. Wide open.
That's what I said. These are zones. Like those aren't even windows. Those are doors.
And like we said earlier, if Dak uses his legs, now they got pressure, by the way. If we run this back just a little bit, shouts out to them. They did get pressure on this play that caused Richardson to move the pocket a little bit on a twist stunt. I mean, that's just a bad recognition by, I think that's Quentin Nelson. I mean, you can't do that. But use your legs, right? Dak did that excellently last week against the Chargers. Use your legs. It creates a bigger window.
Right.
Drop it in. And let your guys get some yak, you know? And that's what happened against the Colts. That's what happened against the I believe it was the Eagles, and that's what happened against the Cardinals. I mean, this is a team that will allow your guys to eat once you go to your tight end. So for me, the matchup of the day is Jake Ferguson against who the hell ever. It don't even really matter what they do on that side of the ball. I would love for McCarthy and Dak to go to this game and get back to what they were doing when he was getting 18 targets in a 3-game span, not just the 4 over the last 2.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out because I know we were debating back and forth whether McCarthy got any sense, and if he doesn't attack the tight end, I will call you. I will call you immediately and be like, "Yo, you got it. Yeah, you got it."
I mean, I hope so, bro.
Because I'm like, I hope he's smart enough to understand that. Like, if you don't see that, then you're not watching film. I didn't understand how they attacked the Niners, and I still don't understand why we're not being consistent with certain mismatches that we have. Like, even in the Niners game, you saw what Turpin did. Even though he got hurt that game, we could have did the same type of concepts with Cooks, different types of things to get behind those guys and give them trouble. And we didn't. So I hope that he's as smart as I think he is. But there's some merit to what you said in regards to him not him having too much on his plate. Maybe calling plays and being the head coach might be a little too much. Who knows? But we'll find out this game because you're going to have to adjust in this game. Yes. You're going to have to adjust because they're not going to give it to you early. You're not going to know what the hell they're doing in the first quarter.
I mean, either you're going to have to adjust or you're going to have to trust what you see on film. The Philadelphia Eagles came out and attacked them with Dallas Goedert. I swear, Dallas Goedert had about 2 or 3 catches on that first drive, and all 3 of them were big plays. One was a screen. They played back. Dallas Goedert turned around, catch it. We get upfield for about 12 yards. The other one was the deep crosser for 20 plus, and the third one was a touchdown in the red zone. Just trust what you see. You know, they can try to disguise all they want. One thing they don't do well is deal with the tight ends. So maybe Ferg goes from being your third read option to maybe being your second option, depending on what you got out wide. But one thing about the receivers, right? And we love the matchups individually. I don't think Cooks and Lamb, I don't think they can really deal with them individually. But when it comes to zone, it's not about individually, right? And when it comes to disguising, it's not really about the individually. It's about, you know, making sure that you catch them. What we've seen on film, it really doesn't matter what they do disguise-wise. They have trouble really staying with the tight end. So maybe we adjust and say, all right, my tight end is now my first or second read, not my third or fourth.
You go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. They're going to kill if they do it. I hope so, though.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, we ain't do this in a couple weeks, man. Hashtag Akoye, where you guys ask some questions in the chat. And
that's my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, it's fun. Me and Akoye get a chance to kind of just attack those questions, talk about them, and whatnot. We got a couple super chats, though. So what I'll do is I'll hit those super chats while y'all send in the hashtags. Now, they got on my ass the other day about it when they was like, man, you only do like 2 or 3 hashtags. I'm like, look, man, we thoroughly go through and ask the questions or answer the questions. That's why I don't do 15 hashtag Akoyes, because y'all be like, hey, hashtag Akoye, should we go out and trade 3 first-round picks for Devontae Adams? What y'all really want us to do with that? Like, what you really want us to do?
I would trade 5 first-round draft picks for Ezekiel Elliott. Remember that? You don't remember that video, do you?
Nah.
Yeah, that might have been before you paid attention. I'm gonna send it to you because I took it down because it's classic, bro. You gotta watch it, man.
Please send it.
It's like when me and Mark Holmes was beefing, man. It was a funny ass video.
We talk about y'all beef behind the scenes many times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was some funny shit, man.
Oh wow.
Oh man, that was good. Shout out to Mark Holmes, man. We cool now.
Chris 214. He actually dropped 2. I just happened to look over here. Earlier he dropped 2 and said, "Would you shadow Cup with Gilly or Bland?" Well, so I guess this is kind of hashtag Akoye. But before you answer that question, let me read that and I'll read the other ones and I'll come back to that. He dropped 5 also and said, "Watch they'll choose to utilize Schoon instead of Ferg to justify the draft pick." Please don't put that in the air. But appreciate the super chat. Jamal Wilson.
Super chat.
He dropped 2 and said, "What's good? Will Travius steal because of the Durags guy?" So I guess I'm Will Travius now.
Will Travius. My man got super villain names and shit.
DB Dwayne Brown dropped 10 and said, "Get them likes up, man. This is great information." Hey, look, I don't ever like to brag, but I'll brag about my guy Akoye. I don't. Nobody does it like that when it comes to the film. And again, if you really are trying to learn or know about the opponent, I feel like me and you do an amazing job at breaking that down in depthly. So, you know,
you quick with it though. It's like I'll look at the film, and sometimes you'll hit me up before I even got a chance to watch, and then I'll sit up all night watching, and I'm like, damn, he found that. Because I know how I'm finding it. I'm sitting here, and you got other shit you doing, so I'm sitting here like going through the same plays 4, 5, 6 times for like 4 or 5 games. So it's like with that little 15-minute presentation, you already know I had to watch 3 hours of film and then edit another hour and a half of film. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then make sure I knew what I was looking at by watching the film again. You know what I mean?
That's why it's impressive to me.
You catch it.
Because you got actual stuff you got going on. I have to. This is my job. Like this is what I do all day. So.
I wish it was my job though. If it was my job, I'd be happy to just sit here and do this shit all day.
That's what I do.
But hey, I got to run. I'll be having leg cramps and shit. Like I ain't got no fucking fluids in me and that. I'm starting to catch on to getting up this early again because it's like I'll run around. I'll be up all day. Like I'm up. Even last night I was up to like 4 o'clock in the morning. I just woke up. I got 3.5 hours of sleep today, man.
That's
crazy.
Why if you ever tell me,
I'm catching on now.
If you ever tell me, "Hey, not today," I'm like, I get it, bro, because you be on to watch film.
I like this show, man. I stayed up doing the film for this show, so I'm not gonna miss it after that. Like fuck.
So back to Chris' questions. Are you cool? Which Chris's question was, would you shadow Cup with Gilly or Bland? I mean, with Gilly or Bland? I mean, is that a rhetorical question?
I think you put even though Puka's a burner, he's fast. I think you put Bland on Cup. And then you help Gilly with Puka. I think. personally.
Yeah,
But I think either way you do it, Gilly's gonna struggle against deep crossers. He's struggled all year so far
against them
against in
crosses.
breaking routes. So digs and deep crossers have been giving Gilly trouble. If he can press, and he can't press as well against this team because they play their wide receivers in tight or in line. So he can't press that much in this game. And it seems like Dan Quinn likes to back his corners off when you play in tight like that. So you're probably gonna see more of that again this game. Just like you saw last game. You remember Pat Pete against Puka across the field kept getting beat because
that's
you know,
hard.
yeah, it's hard to do. It's a
one of the
foot race
hardest,
with you and a speedy receiver. It's hard to do.
One of the hardest routes to cover, man, is deep overs and crossers and man if you ain't getting pressure on the quarterback. That's why we said the main thing is to get pressure on him. We don't do a lot of star coverage though. Like that's not really our thing. Last year they elected to try it out a little bit, right? And Diggs, who was an all-pro cornerback, he got whooped on a crosser. So by Cooper Kupp. So I don't necessarily know if we should be star coveraging in this game because the problem is both Cooper and Puka Nacua, they both can do the same things. Yeah. So all right, cool. You want to put Bland on Cooper
because he's so physical when you get the ball.
Cooper's more. It's Cooper Kupp, right? But I've seen I got the. We played it. I've seen Puka do the same route on a crosser, run by that cornerback, and get 25, 30 yards of yak afterwards. Yeah. And you just got to be prepared for it. Maybe you mix it up.
We're gonna give up one or two of those. I wouldn't be surprised. We're gonna give up one or two of those. You're not gonna cover crossers perfectly all day because crossers is less about the coverage and more about the pressure. Because if they got enough time to clear that field, then they're going to get a couple of those off. You just want to make sure if they target though, if they run 5 to 10 of those, you want to make sure they only hit on 1 or 2. That's a success. You can't say a success is. Shutting them all down is great. That's ideal, but you're not going to.
Yeah, I like to see Dan do one of the situations where they'll fake the blitz and they'll peel back on that crosser. Maybe you get an interception. I mean, the Steelers, that happened with the Steelers.
And curse and shoot them up into those seams. Like they had them drop into the seams right under those late. And you might, you're right. You might.
The Steelers got one. TJ Watt, he didn't blitz. He dropped back. And Matt Stafford thought he had, I think it was either a crossing route or it was a sit route, a drag route. Yeah. And boom, you just saw TJ Watt jump that thing. And
I think it was an arrow. It was an arrow. He tried to go in and out, and then he was sitting right on it. Yep.
A couple questions. Let's see. We kind of talked about it, but hashtag Ask Akoye. How does the Rams play against outside runs on defense? Run that film back. We broke that down.
Yeah. They widen out their outside linebackers. Like Holt is very good at it. Bryant is 0, right? What's his name?
Brian Young, is that his name?
Bryant Young. There you go. Yeah. He's they're not great pass rushers.
Byron Young. My bad.
Yeah, but what they do pretty well is set the edge. Like they're very good at setting the edge and making sure you don't get outside of them. And their safeties will shoot down there and cut those things off too. So you have less opportunity, in my opinion, outside than you do off tackle. So set it up like you're trying to go outside, but you need to run inside the tackle rather than outside, right? And then also counters. So if you set up those outside zone looks and then you're countering off of them, whether you're under center or from shotgun, I think you'll have success because they do what we used to do with Rob Marinelli because they like to stunt so much with Aaron Donald. You're going to have success up the middle because he'll vacate. He'll get right out of there. You don't even know how to move him because it's hard to move him, but he's going to move for you. So if you run right at Aaron Donald 60, 70% of the time, you're going to get yards right in his gap because he's not going to be there.
Because Aaron Donald has to be their move man to help others get open.
Exactly.
You know, like if Aaron Donald just was getting upfield every play,
he's not going to run at him if he wants to come straight down that gap. He can do it. He's not going to be there.
It's easier to take. It's weird to say take him away, but it's easier to game plan for him in that manner and say, "Oh, well, you're not going to beat me with Holt and whoever Bryant Young, one on one." But if you, as you can see, Quentin Nelson, all pro guard, what happened was they did a stunt, right? So Quentin Nelson, the left guard, and the left tackle, double team the interior guy stunting and then looping around, you get a free rusher. So they're going to do the basic defensive end stunts for sure. Ask Akoye, Deuce Vaughn, is this a game where we can purposely use him, or is he the Cowboys' Gabe Vincent, Lakers?
I think Dak must be having some trouble figuring out how to use him, or
Dak.
What? Yeah, or getting him the ball because when he's in the game, we don't do anything with him. and we didn't activate him last game. But when they didn't activate him, I thought maybe they thought the same things that I was thinking preseason. Anything that I would ask him to do, I would ask TP to do. So if I'm going to throw the ball to Deuce, I would just give TP that play unless he needs a spell. And the thing that we needed that I think we didn't have was a guy like Davis and Rico, who we needed more. We need more burst and more guys that can bring the load or lay the boom in the middle of the
play
field.
behind your pads a little
bit. Right. Oh yeah, if you want to say it that way, right. But so I think Deuce is probably hampered because of the skill set that him and TP have. Just like Turpin is hampered by the skill set that both him and Cooks have, and then some of the things CD will do. You probably want CD doing it over Turpin, but the things that you would ask Turpin to do, CD likes to do, and we've been doing some of that stuff with Cooks too. So that's why you don't see Deuce. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I just think we haven't found a role that's specifically for him. And then even if you did find that role, you're making yourself pretty predictable if you say, hey, we can't pass protect with him. He's not a pass blocker. So we're going to throw screen passes to him, or we're clearly running with him when he's on the field, right? So he's kind of predictable when he's on the field at this point in the game. I think that's why you don't see a lot of him. But I don't
think they know how to use him.
Just
flat out.
Exactly. They don't know what to do with him yet. Yeah.
But it's more a McCarthy thing. I don't know.
You don't like that, boy.
I mean, but no, in all serious questions, how is it a Dak thing?
Oh, no. I'm saying that because I saw Dak trying to target him, and he would throw the ball higher because he's a short guy. So he just hasn't figured out how to adjust. Early in the season when he was getting in the game, I seen him miss on like 2 of those. You know what I mean? But I just think he don't know how to find them yet. Otherwise, if it's working in practice, why wouldn't he be on the field?
He's not. But he's not. That's the thing. I'm really trying to remember when this happened before. I mean, I know he targeted Deuce early against and
I think it was the Jets game, maybe.
Dude's kind of bobbled it. That wasn't really high. He just bobbled it. But he also hit him with a screen where he got 16 yards.
Yeah, he did get yards in that game.
They don't know how to use Deuce Vaughn. And then when they use Deuce Vaughn, if I still got the tape up here, he's getting put in terrible situations at the end of games and blowouts, and you're asking him to just kind of close out the game, and nobody's blocking for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Of his 19 carries, 12 of them have been in between the tackle box. That's not how you use Deuce Vaughn.
Nah.
Right? And so I don't think this is necessarily a Dak thing. This is a Deuce thing. And I'm not trying to get on Mike.
Oh, it's not just Dak. I'm just saying,
I don't think it's him at all.
The coaches aren't seeing it if they're not using it. That's what I'm saying. If he was rock starring it in practice,
I'm not
if
trying
him
to
and Dak had that chemistry, they would be using
what chemistry?
You know what I mean, if he was able to connect with Deuce in practice, I'm pretty sure if they're smart, they would bring that game plan to the game. They're not doing it for, I think, a reason. If they're just missing out, because they're doing this to your credit, to your point, they're doing the same thing with Tolbert right now too. Because I think Tolbert has had success, but they're not finding a way to get him involved in the game either. So I guess you might have a point.
Tolbert plays, but Tolbert is mostly kind of your
decoy guy.
I hate to call. Yeah, here you go. I don't want to call him Noah Brown early days, but he's been more of that than he's been using the pass game. I think he should be. I think he should take Michael Gallup. But that's neither here nor there. I think this is a game you got the running backs to be successful, to do what you want to do. I just flat out when it comes to Deuce, don't think they having a handle on how to use him. And when they were using him early in the season, again, the best game was the Jets. They got him involved on the outside. They hit him with a screen pass, and those things worked. But according to McCarthy, whether you want to believe him or not, he's no longer, or he wasn't part of the plan last week because of special teams. And to me, that's a give up. To me, what happened was they said, we don't know how to use him just yet. And if we can't use him in the offense, he's useless elsewhere. He can't play special teams. So now we're going to sit you down. We're going to bring up Davis. Davis can give us something on special teams. That's where it seems like it's going, which is frustrating to me.
Yeah, I think but again, let
me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I asked the chat this the other day. Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn. Do you think Shanahan or McDaniels will use them the way we're using them?
No.
Right.
I don't think Schottenheimer will use them the way we're using them. When you watch what he did in Seattle, it's like I thought he was going to run the brakes off these running backs. Like all of them was going to get ticked because that's what he did with Penny and all those guys. He was running everybody. You know, he doesn't do that. Like they give TP the load and
Who
let everybody.
responsible for that?
Yeah, that's Mike.
Hey, I ain't trying to come at Mike. I'm just saying.
No, you are, and you're right though. It's a spade is a spade.
I was just saying,
Because Hunter
man.
Lipke got that touchdown. I'm like, y'all can't. And he had a touchdown and he had a first down run too. And I'm like, why don't y'all make people deal with Lipke? Like, you don't make it. We tried to do the Philly push, the brotherly push or brotherly shove or whatever. And I'm like, why are we doing that? That ain't us. Just give Lipke the ball and let them deal with that. That's our thing. Give Lipke the ball.
Yo.
You know, that's what he's here for. Or make somebody cover Lipke out the backfield. Like, you can't. Like, I don't know why we're not using it.
Right? And we're copying the wrong shit.
Yeah,
why
that
are we
ain't
copying
us.
some tush put? Bro, we act like the league just all of a sudden can't convert 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s out of regular under center turnaround, hand it off.
Yeah.
Why are we copying tush push?
We don't need to do it. No, we don't need to do it. And what happened to just the traditional quarterback sneak? Nobody do that shit either. Like there's the quarterback sneak always worked. Y'all act like the tush push is the only one that works. It's like the regular traditional QB sneak out of a goal line formation still works. We just don't do it. You know what I mean? So can running out of that. Like it works. But hey.
Bro hit dropped super chat earlier for his
super chat
hashtag Akoye. He said, "Will we see Cowboys D play cover 2 versus the Rams? Take away deep crossers. They don't play that.
Nope.
I don't think you're going.
We don't run it very well. You don't want us running cover 2.
They're gonna play it. I'm only because that's not what he like. Only reason I'm confident.
Maybe Evans might be different in the middle of the field though. Who knows? But you need a linebacker in the middle of the field when you're running cover 2. You need a linebacker that can cover 2 for real.
LVE does a good job turning around and getting to the spot. Throughout his career,
but he covers one guy when he does it. Like when I say cover, you got to be able to cover 2. I watch how Fred Warner and those guys run cover 2 or run cover 3, and I know that's a bad comparison, but it's fucked up. Sorry, LV, I'm not trying to hate, but it's just real rap. He will guard your guy up the seam, but once he gets you to a safety or to another guy, he'll peel off and cut back down underneath and cover 2 guys on that play. Whereas they'll use a guy in cover 2 when we run it. They'll just run LV out of there and throw to that vacancy underneath him every time they high-low him, and he always chooses high, which he's supposed to do. I guess.
I'm about to say he's doing his job essentially, and he takes away that. That's why I actually like LVE going backwards than dude coming forward. I don't like
that's the biggest indictment. I ain't even gotta say that. No, I like my linebacker playing deep safety.
Hey, dog, it is what it is at this point. It is what it is. Y'all know how I feel about it. It's
like when somebody say, "I like you better when you drunk." Like what?
But
I like my linebacker play. No, you're not. But still, like I don't even gotta say nothing bad about LV. That's all you gotta say right there. I like.
It kind of was a backhand compliment. But
yeah, I like a better running. I like. Do you say LV? I like how you play safety.
Yeah, man. I like how you cover 3. Yeah, I like you. Cover 3. No, Tampa 2. Man, whatever you want to call it, man. Just like you back there. Just start you back there. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and stay back there, bro.
Get back.
Brother L dropped 5.
Super chat.
He said, so on the list of we don't know how to use them. Lipke, Deuce, Cooks, Turpin. Am I missing anyone? I think honestly, it's Lipke and Cooks and Deuce. I think they know how to use Turpin. They just ain't doing it enough.
Yeah, I mean they've put it out there, you're right? Like they put it on film, just don't do it enough. I think part of it is we don't. I mean, you could still do those jet sweeps from shotgun, but we like to do a lot of the jet sweep stuff from under center, and we've been running our offense the last 2 weeks a lot from shotgun. So I think those plays aren't in the shotgun packages, but they should be, and they haven't been. But when we're under center, they work. Well, you just saw what Cooks did last game. I think he had some space on the outside with those reverses. So I think, and in this game is a game for him. So we'll be able to, I think, exploit some of that stuff moving forward in the season. And I was just saying to Sky before we went live that it's a gift and a curse depending on whether or not they decide to use these rookies. You know, you got guys who haven't really been showcased, like we just said, Deuce. If we're going into the playoffs and you still haven't had a lot of tape on the tendencies of a Deuce, of a Lipke, and we start using these guys, Tolbert, and we start using these guys the way we're supposed to later in the season, then there hopefully isn't enough time for coordinators to adjust fast enough to the tape if we start using them late. If we don't use them at all, I'm right with you guys. I'm right with you. I'm like, McCarthy has to be an idiot if he doesn't use any of these guys. And then you have to look at also the front office because they drafted both Deuce and Lipke, and well, they didn't draft Lipke, but Deuce, Lipke, and Shoemaker, and we don't use any of the three of those guys at all. You know what I mean? So if you can't get one guy in the offense, that's okay. It might be a chemistry issue, but you can't get any of the three involved in the offense. That's a problem because you're hampering them. They're not going. You're going in the next year not knowing what you have, and you need to know what you have in Shoemaker.
Well, he's a second round pick. That's
you got to know what
you
you have.
You got to know what you got in him.
You got to know what you got in that guy. Otherwise, you right back where you left off, and it doesn't look good because, like you said, we just signed a tight end to the practice squad, so that says a lot. But that's how I feel. I think that we just don't know how to use those guys right now, but I think we will as the season progresses. I'm hoping.
I could forgive you if you don't use Lipke a whole lot or you don't use Deuce because that's an undrafted guy. That's a 6th-round pick. And at those positions, you got running backs that can get busy. Like Rico and TP, I think can get busy if you utilize them correctly. So I could forgive you if you weren't doing that. But the problem is you're not utilizing that position to its strengths, in my opinion. So now it's like, okay, if you're going to use them in the opposite ways, then give Lipke those carries down the middle of the field or down the middle of the defense. Give Lipke the goal line carries. If you're not going to get TP on the edges or run screens, and run it with Deuce or somebody else, throw everything out there so you can see what the hell works. Problem is, as we talked about in the back, Akoye, we actually ran quality things and used these guys correctly early in the season, and
so it makes even less sense.
You just stop doing it, right?
Yeah.
For this game specifically, though. You mentioned it in your film breakdown. I put it in my notes, man. Get the ball to your playmakers. So I think this is a game where I hate to do this, but maybe you use Lamb a bit as a decoy, and Brandon Cooks, Kavontae Turpin, these guys, and Jake Ferguson, because he breaks tackles, allow these guys to eat you up through the yak, right? Like they can kill them with all that room, all that space.
Berg will murder Hope.
Oh my goodness. All that space that they give you out there, if you can get one of Cooks, Ferg, or Lamb, if Lamb gets caught in one of these, it doesn't matter. Get the ball to them and TP and let them make plays, because one thing they don't do well, Akoye, you probably saw this on film. They don't really tackle that well.
No.
They missed the third most tackles in the National Football League. Third most. They're already at like 56 missed tackles documented in the league, and that's top 3. Cowboys are second best in that, by the way.
Right.
But they're third worst. So you know what that means? Getting you the ball right now, and you make those guys miss.
That's why I said those yak guys is going to be
important.
You said it because they don't tackle well in space, nor do they pursue that well. So we should have some success with that. Some success with that. But let's hit some more questions, man, because before they start complaining about our questions.
I'm scrolling back up because we always go in. Cowboys Thanos, #Koye. What's up with Izzy, number 24? Is he in the doghouse?
If he is, he shouldn't be with what we're doing at corner. I think Izzy's problem is J. Lou is healthy. I don't think it's about what's up with Izzy. What it seems like we do here, which you can hate it or love it. When you look at Izzy and you look at Wanye, the talent that they possess and what they're capable of, and the fact that they don't hit the field that often, you can see that it's less of a meritocracy and more of a seniority type of thing going on here. Because, obviously Izzy could come in and help us in the slot. A lot of guys are saying they don't like him in the slot. I do, from what he did in the playoffs. But
I'm one of those guys.
You can use him outside and push Bland in the slot, so that's still no excuse. I think he can play outside. You know what I mean? I think he can play out. He did already, so he can play outside.
That's where I want to see him.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, finish. I thought you was done.
I don't think he's in the doghouse. I think it's just they're using Wilson. I think Wilson being back, Curse being where he is a logjam for both Izzy and Lewis. They're log jams for both Izzy and Wanye at this point. But hopefully this becomes a meritocracy and those guys start playing more near the end of the season. Or if something were to happen to any of those guys, I know they would come in and do well. But
that's what it is.
I think that they need to play though. I think Izzy is you got to make guys beat you with a guy like that. Like a guy like Izzy, both his press ability, his quick twitch athleticism, his range. He's another Sherm or Brandon Browner type. Like you have to, even if you beat him, he still ain't that beat because he can leap. He's long. He's a long, tall guy. So I think that you have to force guys to beat that, and I would put him on the field. But you know,
For
J. Lou's
who?
out there right now. J. Lou, J. Lou. I
I'll
would
talk
put.
about that in a second.
I like J. Lou. Don't get me wrong, but I would kick that play where we gave up that touchdown last week on that
He was just
on that.
jogging across the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
The Eagles scored on us last year with the same thing, but they did it against Diggs and J. Lou. Those guys, they don't. It's like that's your guy, right? And you know that as soon as they snap the ball, you already are beat, right? And they're gonna rub you, right? You know this, right? So why are you jogging? What are you doing? So I don't like that.
So I think we got ahead of ourselves with Izzy, and I was a fan of Izzy. Don't get me wrong, but he got his opportunity because there was a bunch of injuries, like you said, right?
Mhm.
He got thrown out there, and obviously it was, I think, a matchup thing, where they
Right.
in the slot against the Buccaneers, it was Godwin, and then against the Niners, it was Greg Jennings. That's more Izzy's speed. When
Mhm.
it comes to slot guys, I've seen him get. I've seen Godwin get him. But the quicker guys, the more slot route running guys, they tear him up. Because that's not
Mhm.
his game. Which is why
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing him on the outside. Now, if you want
Yeah.
to play like a weapon X type of situation with Izzy, where okay, I'm going up
Tight
against a
end.
big slot or a tight end or
Mhm.
Keenan Allen or something, you want to throw
The
him in
stuff
there.
Curse is doing.
I'd welcome that for sure. But I kind of either want to see him as a boundary corner, or I thought he was going to be a guy that could play some safety for you for once Hooker was gone. But they signed Hooker, so and Wanye,
Yeah.
I like Wanye better. But
Yeah, I do. I
I
like
just
Wanye.
think Izzy's kind of, they just don't. I hate to say don't know what to do with him. He's just kind of a luxury chess piece now. If somebody gets hurt, maybe he can play some boundary, maybe play some
Right.
safety, maybe go into the slot. But here's the problem:
Yeah.
even if old boy gets hurt, I'm putting Deron Bland in the slot and let him kill
Yeah.
in the slot because he's been the best slot corner when he's been in there. And then I'll put Izzy on the boundary. But
Yeah, I
he's just
would do
kind of
that
in
too.
this weird spot right now where a dude like Marquise Bell is making plays. A guy like Wanye Thomas is splashing like crazy. And it's just like we got Izzy there. You know, where do you where do you put him in that? And I know you're a fan of putting him in the slot. I
Yeah.
would say by design, like it has to, like if I'm going up against a Christian Kirk type of dude, I'm not putting no damn Israel
Oh,
McClellan.
no.
Like he'll get tore up. But if I'm going up
Yeah.
against a bigger slot guy, then maybe we had that conversation for sure.
Yeah. I agree.
Let's see. Curse. Yeah, a lot of people are out on Curse this year, by the way. Ooh wee.
Curse is he looks slow this year. I mean, everything he's doing going forward behind the line of scrimmage against the run, he's doing okay. But when he gets caught in space, he's not it right now.
Yeah, I wonder if those injuries are catching up to him, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
his change of direction is not there. He look tight in the hips.
he's one of those dudes that did not get signed to the extension at safety. The other two did. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Chris asks,
Do that.
Chauncey Golston, should he get more? Can he get more PT, or can Chauncey Golston get more PT? Yeah.
Chauncey Golston is probably going to piss Sam Williams off if this is a meritocracy, because Chauncey Golston to me is the one player that I want to see outside, on the edge and not three tech so often
Set
on
the
early
edge.
down. Yes, he's the guy. If I was going to set an edge with somebody, I wouldn't use Micah for it. It would be Chauncey. The two guys that are best at setting the edge and are physical and not going to let a wide receiver or a tight end block them at all. There's three. Osa, Chauncey, and D-Law are not going to have that shit outside. So I would love to see Chauncey on the field more on the outside, honestly. And he's actually doing pretty well in the pressure category too. So I wouldn't mind Chauncey being out there. No, I think he should get more tick, especially against teams that want to run the ball aggressively. Chauncey's one of our best run defenders on his team. And he's earned, in my opinion, the right to play because of his consistency. He's a guy that's only 285, 290, but he's a lot like that David
5'10".
Irving. Yeah, he's a David Irving type where he can play all up and down the line. I've seen him take double teams on, like Osa does, and still be able to split them. And he's not the biggest guy. So I like Chauncey.
Yeah.
Chauncey. Play hard.
The way they use him, I think, is how they should use him. And like you said, whenever you want to get a guy out there to put Micah off ball or have him float around, you put him on the edge. He's got a lot of. I mean, I don't know how much more we really we're gonna run him out there. He's played 115 snaps. He's averaging like 20 snaps a game. That's about right for Chauncey.
That's about where he should be.
Yeah, and then once you get into those passing situations, you're not
You don't
putting
wanna
him
put
on the
him.
field, right? So you want to put you even with Sam. You know, a lot of people you want to put Sam out there, Micah, D-Law, Dante, Osa. Like these are the guys that you're rolling out there in the pass situations. So if you think about it, if you're getting roughly 20 snaps a game, Chauncey's probably out there for like 15 run snaps, 12 to 15 run snaps, which is about where you want him to be.
Right. That's
So,
right.
I think he got about 45 snaps on the edge. So I think the way you said how to use him, I think that's what they're doing. They understand what they got with him. 100%.
Yeah, and Sam, he's in his own way. He's in his own way, for him to hit the field. Yeah, he in his own way. Like I like the player. I like his ability, but he don't seem very smart. And you got to be smart to play football. Like every time he doesn't play that often, but he gets a lot of penalties. And he got that fight right before the Chargers game. He was right in the middle of that. We already seen him do that in the offseason. And it's like he got us just, I don't know if it's, I'm not even trying to play. I'm not being funny, but I don't know if it's CT or he just a wild man like Bill Romanowski. He's like a Romanowski type of guy. He don't like nobody, bro. And he be on your ass. So the way Sam plays, like he gives illegal hands to the face. He don't think. Like all you gotta do is watch your own film. And if you truly want to be great, it's right there for you. But between the off-field stuff and then the on-field stuff, he's wild off the field and he's wild on the field. And that's the reason he doesn't play, because he can't be trusted. I don't trust Sam Williams, but I like the talent. I think he's a guy who can wreak havoc. But do you want a guy out there that can wreak havoc, but he only plays 15 snaps and gets you one 15-yard penalty per 15 snaps? Like, he's been doing that since his rookie year when he hit Daniel Jones out of bounds. He's been a guy that does that. Even when we call him slam, but even that play was borderline necessary. They didn't call it, but he did it. That's what he don't got no chill in him. And that's what he needs. And I thought Randy Gregory was a wild card that we took because of his talent. It's like Randy Gregory does a lot of off the field stuff and wild stuff on the field too that we had to overcome. But it was like he was making the plays too. Sam's not making those plays yet, but he's giving you the stuff that Randy was giving you and a little more. So he's in his own way.
There it is, man. You got to make the plays. I don't mind that he's a little twisted. I'm fine with that. Like that's cool. Nobody cared. Nobody cared last year because he always flashed. He was flashing and felt like every game he was doing something. In this rate now, he's just not flashing enough for us to be. I say us, for them to really be dealing with what he's doing off the field in regards to the cars, the rest, the tickets,
work on your game,
the tweets and all that stuff. Yeah. The reason why, Micah's out here saying whatever, ain't nobody checking him because it's Micah. He going to go on the field and he going to back it up. Sam, you can't be out here being a headache literally in life and then going on Twitter saying free me. But when we put you out there, listen to this. Mozzie Smith has a higher pass rush win rate than Sam Williams, bro. I mean, that's just
psycho.
Not great. That's not great.
Psycho.
Yeah. So
he a one tech. He should not be out doing you, bro.
You need to make more plays, because if he makes more plays, we deal with it.
You will be there.
Yeah, we deal with it, man. Somebody said Chase overrated. Shit, I'd take one of them dudes. I'd take a Chase. Let's see what else we got here. I think we got through most of the hashtags that were okay. Here's one more. Brother Elsa asked Akoye, is it still in DQ we trust over everything, or are our team starting to figure him out a bit? Is he using all his personnel the best he can?
Well, that's a loaded question. I still trust DQ, so I'll answer that first. I still trust him like crazy. I don't think he forgot how to play. But you got to take other factors in where, again, money plays. Money plays. LV was out there, money plays. Then we also lost Diggs. So that changes your scheme a lot when you lose a guy who can lock down one side of the field. Because if you wouldn't hate this defense so much if you had a guy shading away from, like Hooker, shading away from Diggs and then helping Gilly a little bit more, and with a Bland in the slot, we wouldn't have a problem. The problem is now that safety has to cover the entire field. Like we said, that rainbow range, He has to keep a cap on this entire field. Hooker does, and he has to play sideline to sideline because he now has to help both Bland, who Bland's playing good, but Bland is still a double move guy, just like Diggs was
Say
early in
Diggs,
his career. There's nothing wrong with that because he's looking at. I want him to be aggressive, but because of that, Hooker has to help both those guys out, not just Gilly. So Gilly is now really the guy that they're leaving by himself because he's the veteran, but he doesn't have the same athleticism he used to have. And they're not allowing him to press for an entire game, whether it's the offense putting him in alignments where he can't press or Quinn calling certain things where he's not pressing. But Gilly is a guy that right now can still press very well. When I see him in press coverage, he doesn't get beat very often. But when he plays off ball, he's not the same guy. So that's what's happening right now. So I still trust Dan Quinn. I just feel like he's adjusting to the talent that he has out there. But he still I don't think offensive have just totally figured him out. He has talent everywhere. It's just those guys have to start helping Micah out, and he has to start moving guys around. I don't know whose call that is. I don't know if it's Quinn saying Micah's going to play primarily at defensive end, or it's someone upstairs saying it. I don't know. But Micah, to me, is the only thing. The only knock I have on Dan Quinn is the usage of Micah, and that's saying something because Micah is still, with him being primarily
one of the best rushers,
still one of the best in the game. But I think if you're talking to me, and I'm a defensive coordinator, and I'm not Dan Quinn, I'm not disrespecting the guy, but if I said, listen, I want all of my traffic, I want to funnel all of my traffic to my playmaker, then Micah in the middle of the field is the best possible option because not only are those running backs having to go to you're setting the edge with Micah, it doesn't make sense. Running backs having to run up the gap towards Micah or allowing him to flow sideline to sideline and pass rush, I think makes this team instantly ridiculous, especially if you put him next to guys like Bell, who's starting to ascend, and Evans, who I think can be that
I'm
Sam.
excited to see that a little bit.
Those two next to each other, with Chauncey on the outside on early downs and D-Law, that's your run defense right there. You don't need anything else. Osa's already doing his thing in the middle, and so is Hankins when he's in there. And even Mozzie would actually start making plays if you could have guys consistently on the outside, force the ball back inside to these guys. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
From a run game standpoint, I think we've improved. I don't agree with Danny.
We're better.
He said that we haven't been able to stop the run. I
mean,
mean,
that's not true.
Aside from the Arizona game, if we're keeping it a bean, that's
that
really the only one.
Running, just
old boy was eating.
He was too, but I'm saying quarterback too. But the edges were our problem. Quarterback and running backs on the edges were our problem in that game.
Aside from the Arizona game, Christian McCaffrey 2.7 yards per carry, Austin Eckler 1.9, Zeke 2.7, Hall 2.3, Cooks 1.8, and Barkley, who had like two good runs early in the first quarter, didn't do nothing the rest, averaged 4.3. The Cowboys have actually been better against the run. Are they the 49ers? No, but if you wanted to see improvement, they've absolutely improved against the run, and I think a lot of it has to do with having Hankins here full time, having Mozzie come in to help keep these guys clean, and they could probably be even better. If Evans is the downhill guy, if Clark finds it, if Bell just keeps playing his game, I know we got to keep him clean, but it's not the run, Akoye, that is the issue for me. It's if we don't get pressure. And you got a quarterback capable, and you got a scheme, or you got wide receivers capable, we are getting absolutely obliterated with deep digs, deep overs, crossers, or whatnot. It's the big play. The big plays in a pass game are the same things that have been the Achilles heel for the Cowboys for 3 years. Not just not just 2021, 2022. Even this year, in the games we won, we've lost receivers on the back end, right? Guys have made big plays. So if we can kind of clean that up, I think the defense is fine, man. I mean, you still got
defense is fine. The thing that's hampering that, what you just mentioned, is honestly the one thing that's on the one guy that's on this defense who's a staple because of his green dot ability, because he's a leader on the field and off the field, is Curse. Curse is the only one that doesn't have any flex. Like when he's out there, his best attribute is he's going to be guarding that tight end and press man in the box. He's going to help you against the run. If you were to replace him with a guy who can do some of the things that Cam was doing, meaning just because he's in the box doesn't mean he has to be playing man or has to be coming forward. We don't have to. They weren't running all cover one with Seattle. They would use Cam back sometimes. Now it's like because of the way Curse plays, they have put him out there, but as a single high safety, he's not that. We don't really run too high that often, or even robber that often.
Yeah, they
He's
trust
usually
Hooker to just man
cover
sideline
everything.
to sideline, which
He's doing a good
yeah,
job. Like Hooker's doing great. I don't got a problem with Hooker. I'm just saying we would get more out of a Wanye if he were out there because you can do more.
I
with
want
him
him out there.
Yeah.
They're in a weird spot where I hate to use the term politics or you money, but you did
It's
just pay
politics.
Hooker and you paid Dono, and look, I know people get off of these players very easily, especially in Cowboys Nation. I love you one day, hate you the next day. But Dono coming off the injury, people want to take him off the field, and it's like, hey, when Dono's on, this motherfucker on. People want to take. If you're going to take anybody, to me, it's Curse. But that's
even with Curse this season, I want to give him his grace. Curse has made some plays this season.
All three of these safeties have done well in stints, but I wouldn't say they've played up to our expectations, right?
That's
consistently.
Yeah, they've made plays though. He's made plays. Yeah, I just still think.
I mean, it's stuff like this. Like my man said, Hooker's just trash. Like, see, that's what our fan base do. Like,
when you don't see Hooker in the game, like if you don't see him,
they ain't watching no film.
They
not watching no film. We brought this up last year. When you're playing the roof safety, 9 times out of 10, your job is to cut off a certain window based off of what you're seeing after the snap. And what's going to happen is they'll take that away, and we're going elsewhere with the ball. And it's where's Hooker at? Well, Hooker's taking away this play. But
I've seen him play in the Giants game where Hooker was on the opposite hash. The interception he had, I think. If you have that interception from Hooker, look at it. If you got that film,
who's the preseason hero that I'm hype on, Willie T?
Wanye. I'm hype on him.
No, that's a regular season. Wanye was doing good things in the regular season.
Yeah, he's doing both.
Who's the preseason hero that I'm hyped on? What are we talking about here, man?
Don't argue with them. You already know they're gonna take you in a dark hole.
They do.
They take me there all the time. I'm like, what? Who talking about my mom?
Stuff, man. Like,
they just be talking shit. I glance over there, but I learned after the first season of doing this. Do not read those comments while you are doing this show.
Trust and believe me.
I will be like, what?
I've done better. I've done better with it, but got time today. So what's happening? Who we talking about? Huh? Who we talking about? I don't know who we talking about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Michelle C says Curse had a penalty. Oh yeah, the offside penalty. That was frustrating.
That was dumb. All these guys though.
Okay, so it is Wanye.
Yeah, so, he's talking about Wanye.
So we're not excited about what we saw from Wanye when he was on the field in the regular season?
Even in the San Fran game. He was one of the guys that played very well in that game. He was covering McCaffrey.
If what you see on film from Wanye in the regular season doesn't impress you, okay.
The first 3 games, the first 2 games that everybody's hype on with this defense, right? Where we were blowing guys out. Not saying nothing against Dono, but when Dono wasn't here and Curse was on the field, Wanye was on the field, he was making plays. That field goal block set the tone for the Giants game. Remember that? People don't forget. If people forget that, like when Wanye is on the field,
people like Willie T just choose to completely ignore it. He said no.
You got those guys. Like that's how we recognize Bland. Bland was like in preseason against Denver. I'm like, who is 30?
Right. And they said, let's see him when he gets out there. What happens when he got out there? He made plays.
And Wanye got that same electric with him. He makes plays. And he's not afraid of the moment. The Jets game, he was balling behind the line of scrimmage. And in the Giants game, balling. Like Wanye was covering Waller by himself and shut him down. He was covering C-Mac. If you reason you don't pay attention to it is because every time he covered him, there was a penalty on someone else who was hitting C-Mac. But Wanye was in perfect coverage that entire game. Every time they lined C-Mac out wide and Wanye matched up against him, the reason you didn't see C-Mac is because Wanye was on him. So him and Hooker having quiet games is a good thing because they're not getting beat.
Game Pass is what now? It's like $9.99 a month or something like that. It don't take a lot. But even then, sometimes people don't know what they're seeing anyway.
Yeah, that's why being used to argue, man, because You are like the king of. You got like a PhD in sarcasm. It took me a while to catch that. I was like, yeah, why are you telling me how much Game Pass is? Because he hit the ball.
Look, if they're
Game
gonna
Pass,
take
what,
shots at us,
$9.99?
we gotta be able to take it
I
too. But
will
you
punch
could
you
give
in the
some back.
stomach with words. I
We
was like,
gotta give
Scott,
some back.
I'm very clear on what that means, Scott. He'd be like, oh, all right. Well, Scott be whooping your ass with words, man. He'll whoop your ass. For real.
All right, I'm done because he
You are.
got his time. I almost did it again. Okoye, you're right. I just gotta be like, just get away from it. You're right, man. You're right. You ain't gonna change these. One thing I'm learning, is you damn sure ain't gonna make everybody happy on this thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Golly, what are y'all watching out here? All right, one more refresher here. Make sure I ain't missed nothing.
Go ahead.
Nope, we got them all, man. I think we got them all. Brian, Dwayne, Chris, Puri, and Brother L. Appreciate y'all with the super chats, man. Appreciate y'all with the super chat. Defense is not fine. They let opposing teams drive down the field on their first possession every game. Yeah, the opening up, we haven't been great with that. But
do they adjust is the question. Like they adjust every game almost.
Yeah. The worst game obviously was the Niners. I mean, that was just you had no answers. In the Cardinals game, you only gave up 7 in the second half. You just
I think what's showing is
Diggs.
They only gave up 3 in that game, by the way, on the first drive, even after that big play.
I think Diggs is very important to this defense. Honestly, the defense is a good defense without Diggs. It's a great defense with him. You know what I mean? You can't take that away from him because both energetically and schematically they haven't been the same since the Cardinals game. So I think when you're saying defense isn't fine, they are fine. It's just that you're not going to get Diggs back. You know what I mean? You're not going to get him back, and you can't replace him. He's not replaceable. Not. So
yeah, it's a good defense, man.
Yeah, it's good defense though.
Yeah, it's a good defense. They're probably still sifting through, how to play without Diggs. It's been 3 games, and 17 points last week. I know. Look, my man got hit up with a double move, but that don't mean that the call wasn't, the coverage was there. Your man just got beat. So I thought, after that first possession, and I said this in the pregame show, I said, hey, just wait out Kellen Moore. He's going to come out with all this fun moving around stuff.
Kellen Moore. His first 15 always been
just
good.
Wait him out, and then that's exactly what we did. So, but this one, though, good test, though. Good test. Akoye brief touching on it a little bit earlier. Good test coming up. They got players on the out wide. They got the quarterback that's going, make some plays with his arm, and they got the scheme, right? So, we don't want a repeat of what happened when we played against a scheme similar. We want to be able to, I don't want to say a statement game, but build off of how you closed out that game against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Build off of that.
Exactly.
All right, man. We got through all the supers. We got through the film. If y'all missed all that, y'all just missed some fire stuff. So please, before y'all get up out of here, do us a favor. Hit that like button on the way out. Oh, yeah, you're going to have the film part of it on your channel?
Yeah, I'm going to rip that.
All right, yeah, so Akoye is going to put the film part of it on his channel, running that thing back. So make sure y'all go check out Akoye Media. But he can tell you for yourself. Tell him where to find you.
Akoye Media, man, on YouTube. Definitely follow me there. Those who like the shit talk, follow me on, like I said, on Twitter. Just understand it's friendly fire and it's Emily fire. So I don't know who all you are. So don't be like, I followed you from Sky. You cursed me out. Anybody can get it on Twitter, man. I go there to express myself as a fan, not for any. Analyst. I don't use Twitter for anything else. I'm not an analyst on Twitter. I talk shit on Twitter. So if you go on Twitter, expect that. If you don't like that, don't follow me there, please, because I don't want to offend anybody. Because I will. I will, I promise you. And on IG, you already know. Scott, tell you I'm tinfoil hat man over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably like Yoda back there on IG. So follow me there too. But yeah, I have fun. I'm Akoye for real, man. I'm an accumulation of all the things that I'm into. So you're gonna catch a little bit of that everywhere. But for That's football, true. Definitely on YouTube, man. You're on YouTube, definitely.
That's facts, man. When you talk about everything, I mean, like I said, I'll be on Instagram scrolling, seeing a whole bunch of Cowboy shit. The next thing I see is Akoye was. There are no aliens in Pennsylvania. They're all located in California, loading up the. I'm like, what? This is Akoye. All right, cool. This is Akoye. All right, let me go check this out. Because if Akoye dropping it, I want to know what the hell's going on out here. So.
Yeah. I'll be having fun, man.
I love it, man. But you're right about that Twitter.
Yeah.
If you can't handle it on Twitter, it's much like here. If you can't handle it, if you call into one of our shows, don't do it.
I'm coming for you, man.
Don't go on
And
Twitter.
don't say nothing dumb because I'm coming after you. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? That's just the way I am.
Yep.
I have fun with it though, man.
Yeah. So with that said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this button, get up out of here.
Yes, sir.
Wait, if I can find the button.
What's the goddamn button? What's the goddamn button?
Anyone can get it. It's Akoye's mantra right there. Check me out tomorrow. I'll be back here. Last show of the week. Birthday tomorrow, by the way. So
man, happy birthday, bro.
According to
how old you turning,
I'm just
man?
about to say, according to some of y'all, I'm turning 62 or whatever. So
I thought it was 48. You ain't 48?
fuck out of here.
OG. That's my OG, man. Listen, I'm only here because you my old head, man. I
Get
fuck
outta
with
here,
you,
man.
man. Anytime the OG call, I'm coming. You know what I mean?
Akoye ain't supposed to be but I'm OG.
OG with the young
Don't even make
face.
sense. Akoye the smoothest grandpa I know, but I'm the OG.
I'm a grandpa. And I fuck around. I'm older than you. For real.
Shouts out to Akoye Media, right guy. Somebody said I was born BC. That's deep. Hey, I take 27.